Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now. I am Tom Downey. We've got some major Vikings injury news that hopefully ends up being good. Some DeAndre Hopkins trade rumors as well. Before we get to that, though, of course, we will have a watch party for you guys here. Producer Patrick, very excited about that Vikings-Giants game. Our goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers before kickoff. We are 180 away, and I know at least 180 of you like what we do here at Vikings Now, are huge fans of the Vikings, and yet aren't subscribed. Get that changed. It's all free. Hit the subscribe button right now. Let's get into the Vikings injury report here. Mostly positive. Cameron Dantzler did miss the Wednesday practice with a personal day, so hopefully everything's good there. Brian Asamoah is limited with the knee. Garrett Bradbury was limited with his back issue that's been bothering him for a while. Harrison Smith was limited with another knee as well. In general, limited means you're going to play on Sunday, which of course is still the case here, although it's been the problem for Garrett Bradbury, who we'll get into here in a little bit. Good news is James Lynch was a full participant, so Minnesota mostly healthy it seems, but there is, of course, the concern over Garrett Bradbury. Vikings offensive coordinator Wes Phillips had some comments on Thursday this morning, and when asked about Garrett Bradbury, says he looked really good, he feels really good, but linemen have to strain, so they don't know his full status for Sunday, but they should know more after the padded practice on Thursday. If you can, I would love to get a full participant for Garrett Bradbury today. I am a little bit worried about that because, man, the Vikings have found a way to miss Garrett Bradbury all year long when he's been out, which is not something I think anyone thought we'd be saying. Also from Ed Donatel, who producer Patrick's mad about for his hype comments or trash-talking comments, about Harrison Smith, who missed last Sunday's game for precautionary reasons due to knee soreness, limited Wednesday. He'll be ready for Sunday. Harrison's always ready to go at a time like this. Harrison Smith is a veteran. Give him the veteran day off for the game and the veteran limited participant on Wednesday. On the Giants side of things here, John Feliciano was limited with a back issue, along with Adoree Jackson, Leonard Williams, Jason Pinnock, who's more of a special teams guy, Azeez Ojulari. Xavier McKinney was full after his ATV accident that cost him some games this year. Sounds like everyone should be pretty good on the Giants side. The Adoree Jackson return would be significant for the Giants. This is what Xavier McKinney had to say. McKinney seemed confident Adoree Jackson would be back for the Vikings rematch. Asked about his own presence. Well, we got Adoree back too, so that's going to be a big boost for us as a defense, or big for us as a defense. So unprompted, basically, McKinney's talking about Adoree Jackson returning. Hopefully Minnesota also gets Garrett Bradbury back. The line I love to mention from producer Patrick was, I never would have thought I would have missed Garrett Bradbury this much. Sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side. So if you want Garrett Bradbury to play for the Vikings this week, type in 56 in the comments section. So show him some support. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Let us know. Next up, some DeAndre Hopkins trade conversation. It does appear that his time in Arizona is winding down. Jordan Schultz broke this on Tuesday. The Cardinals plan to try to trade all-pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. He has 2 years, $34.36 million left on his deal. Will likely seek a new deal, and owner Michael Bidwell is going to express this to any GM/head coach candidates that Hopkins is likely done in Arizona. It certainly sounds like Hopkins is the driving force behind this. Arizona this year, to be quite honest, was a bit of a disaster dumpster fire, and I feel like that's a bit mean to dumpster fires, frankly. Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray were yelling at each other at one point during a game, which is never a good sign. Hopkins missed the first couple games for a suspension, and then came back, and then Murray was gone, and it just that Cardinals organization needs a bit of a reset here. But Hopkins, although aging and although he does want a new deal, which could cause issues with Minnesota giving Justin Jefferson what will eventually be the highest or the biggest receiver count in NFL history, the Tyreek Hill numbers are a bit deceptive, but that's okay. Hopkins would be a huge get for Minnesota because he's DeAndre Hopkins. He's still in that conversation. I think the answer is Jefferson, of who is the best wide receiver in the NFL. We've all enjoyed the Jefferson-Adam Thielen duo, but move on from Thielen, probably end up cutting him. Maybe he comes back on a cheaper deal, whatever. You slot DeAndre Hopkins in there, and, I mean, if you're an opposing defense, how do you stop that? You can't double both of them. You don't have the numbers to do that. And if it does, it means you're letting TJ Hockenson get one-on-one with a linebacker or something. Like, that offensive unit would be absolutely incredible to see out there. I think it would be the best wide receiver duo in history in terms of like where they're at right now. You might see a bit of a dip in Jefferson's numbers, but who cares? It's DeAndre Hopkins. Like, if you can get him at a reasonable cost, and I don't know what the cost of Hopkins will end up being, because he's older, because he wants a new deal, and because the wide receiver trade market makes no sense, I don't have a great feel for it. You saw Mark Cuber go for a 5th and a 6th. You saw Chase Claypool go for the 32nd overall pick. I think Hopkins better than both those guys, but they both had wildly different levels of trade value. So, I don't know, maybe it's a 2nd and a day 3 pick, somewhere in that range for Hopkins. Again, I really don't know because of the age and money and how good he is. There's just a weird balance there. So what do you guys want to do? Let's say it is a day 2 and a day 3 pick. Do you want to trade for DeAndre Hopkins? Type in T for trade, P for pass. Get those votes in for me in the comments section. And while you're down there, get your NFC North Championship gear from our friends over at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/NFC North. Links in the comments section and the description on today's show. Plenty cold up right now up in Minnesota, so maybe you can rock some hoodies. I like the black. It looks clean. I think the Concord, the NFC North, is just perfect for the Vikings. Get yours today, chatsports.com/NFC North. They're also smarter. They're kind of making the year a little bit smaller, so it doesn't just have to be for 2022. Next part of the show is what's going to happen at right tackle. Minnesota has designated Blake Brandel to return from injured reserve. Here's what Wes Phillips had to say on that front. Again, this was this morning. Blake looked good. He's a pretty technical player. No worries about Blake. Now, the issue you run into here is that Brandel was the Vikings' preferred backup offensive lineman when there were injuries to Christian Darrisaw and then, of course, now Brian O'Neill. He didn't play that well, though. The PFF numbers, and I know it's PFF and that's kind of dicey, but nobody else does like individual offensive line stuff. ESPN does it, but it's not publicly available with their pass block win rate and stuff. So it's like, who knows? This is at least available. You can get to it, and Pro Football Reference does not do it yet, unfortunately. So it's what we have. Not great numbers. Ali Udoh, meanwhile, actually has fared pretty well the past couple of weeks. The overall grade, 69.5. The pass blocking grade's been really good, only 2 pressures allowed, and that's important because the Vikings have issues up front. Christian Darrisaw has been everything we wanted and more this year out of Virginia Tech in his second year. He's been a freaking star, borderline all-pro player. Ezra Cleveland's solid enough. They're actually in decent shape with Garrett Bradbury at center, but otherwise it's dicey. Ed Ingram has been the weak point, but now you got uncertainty at right tackle, so at center right tackle spot concerns me, and you're going up against the Giants team that has playmakers. When they go to their best 4-man front, I think it's Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and Azeez Ojulari. Now, you see the big gap in sacks versus pressures. Ojulari's got 19 pressures and 6 sacks. Kayvon Thibodeau's got 40 pressures and 4 sacks. So he's getting home. He's just not finishing them off, or the ball's out just quick enough, or Ojulari's getting the benefit there. Dexter Lawrence has been, I really think, a borderline all-pro defensive tackle this year. He's been the guy I thought he was going to be out of Clemson, the guy I love so much. Leonard Williams remains a good football player. That Giants front should scare Minnesota a little bit, should be their main concern of that Giants defense as a unit. So with that in mind, who do you want to start at right tackle this week? OH for Ali Udoh. BB for Blake Brandel. Get those votes in for me in the comment section. And a reminder, please subscribe if you have not already. We have free videos for you guys here on Minnesota Vikings Now. Producer Patrick's going to be live once again for our NFL Wildcard Round watch party. Should be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys tune in.